This is the fourth video in my manager mini-series. Today I'm going to be talking about developing people. It's a very common view that developing people is the most critical part of being a great leader. It's essentially the most important responsibility that as a leader we have. In every organisation I've ever worked in, the Employer Engagement Survey has always identified that the area in which the organisation needs to improve is developing its people. So it's clearly a challenge for organisations to get right. And it does spark the debate of whose responsibility is it really to develop individuals. I think it very much does come down to the individual to take ownership, but they need support. And for those individuals who are not necessarily aware, they don't have the self-awareness, the consciousness of the development areas that are important to them, do need help in terms of drawing those out, as well as getting the relevant feedback on areas that maybe are not so obvious to them. Developing people is also a key component of what keeps people in their jobs. People will stay in businesses for longer if they feel that they're being invested in, that they're valued and that they're being supported to grow, that they're actually getting more out of their job on a regular, consistent basis. But how do you do it? How do you develop people? Here are my thoughts on what you can do to better support people developing. Number one is build a relationship. It sounds really simple, it sounds really obvious, but unless you have a relationship with the individuals in which you're working with, you are highly unlikely to be able to support them to develop and grow because there is no trust there. And having conversations about development areas really means having honest, in-depth conversations and people being vulnerable about areas in which they think they're not doing well in and admitting that both to themselves and to others. So you've got to build a relationship, and that requires taking time and effort, showing really genuine interest to get to know people and to build that trust between you and them. Number two is asking questions and being curious. I talk about this a lot, but it's a really common theme in everything that you do as a leader. It's being curious and asking questions around what does the individual believe their strengths are? What do they believe their challenges are? Do they have any current issues in which they want to resolve? What are their interests? And it's not just about asking those questions. You have to take the time to then listen to the response. It really is the foundation for everything. That way, the individual is exploring for themselves what's important to them and what they want to work on. And they're opening up, they're giving you information to work with, which will then enable you both to have choices about what happens next. Really ask questions and explore with the individual what they want. So with strengths, the obvious is that they are able to utilise them more. They get to utilise their strengths in a more efficient way, more effective, more consistent. When we're all using our strengths and doing what we enjoy our jobs a hell of a lot more. So that's obvious. What do they want to resolve? So are there key issues, areas, challenges that they really want to focus on? What do they want to do? And the last thing is what are they really interested in? So what can satisfy them in terms of their engagement, keeping them interested, keeping them motivated, inspiring them. So it's really important when it comes to developing people to focus not just on those areas that they could improve on, but what they really want to do. The more they want to do it, the more they're going to, and the more they're going to feel really appreciated and valued that you're supporting them to do more of what they want. Once all of that is clear around what they want to improve on, where they want to grow, it's about setting goals and about encouraging them to articulate what those goals are. So look ahead to the future and look at the outcome. What do they want to achieve? By when? Put timeframes against it. Help them to really formulate a plan and support them around articulating the actions that are going to get them there. And really look at how your role in this. So where can you help and be involved and support them to get there? It's then about ensuring that through all these conversations, you're then committing to giving them the space and the time to be able to do this. It's all good and well having a development conversation and focusing the individual on what they want to achieve if you're not then going to give them the space and the time to be able to do it. It's about being clear that actually, yes, they have a role to play, they've got objectives to fulfill. The best approach is how can you then connect those things with their development area, so actually the two can be married together and work in harmony and never in conflict. Because too often I think leaders will have conversations with individuals about how they want to develop, but actually it comes to nothing because they then pile on the pressure and put in a structure that just forces them in the opposite direction. So it is about how can you marry the two together? How can you create the opportunities? And how can you actually build on that by introducing them to other people that can help them in with their development, whether that's from your wider network so they can build their own network and relationships, or whether it's about supporting them to find a mentor or a coach. So they're my ideas around how you can develop other people. I hope that's been useful to you. You can find more of these videos in respect of the Manager mini series at the GRIP website, gripcoaching.co.uk.